We are so excited to have Ryan Beck, the co-founder and chief technology officer for Pray.com, with us to talk more about innovation and what's happening with the faith space online. Ryan, thanks so much for being with us. I had to get your attention because, first of all, I think what's happening at Pray.com is indicative of what I see happening around the world, is more people are being bold with their faith and they're speaking about it in the marketplace. But then we've got technology like AI Bible, which I want to talk to you about. But first, let's just discuss how you and your friends, and you guys are actual real life good friends, got together to start this platform. Why was that important to you?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you taking the time. Steve Gattina, the CEO, and one of the founders here at Pray.com, we went to junior high and high school together. We went on little different paths in high school. He went to All-American. I went to America's Most Wanted. But, through God's grace, we reconnected in our late 20s. And, we're both on the path of serving Christ. I was just coming out of serving in the ministry and then in nonprofit space and helping them digitize their efforts so they can actually scale their global impact. And so Steve told me about, hey, I have this idea called Pray.com. And then we got together with Mike, who's the CFO, and Matt, who is heads up. He's like the pastor whisperer, you've met Matt. Like he's the guy. He knows everybody. Everybody knows him. And so he handles all of our relationships with these ministries. And so we got together and we all knew Steve, but we didn't know each other. And so that's how we all got connected. And it was very providential. I just ran into Steve randomly, walking around. I was going to a grocery store. He was coming back from eating dinner. And then Mike and Steve went to USC. They connected randomly after a tragedy happened in Steve's life, which actually led him to Christ and led him to found Pray.com. That was the origin story of Pray.com. He lost his mentor and business partner, and he didn't have faith to turn to. And so when that tragedy struck, he didn't know how to cope with it. It was the first real huge loss that he had suffered. It was unexpected. It was a helicopter crash. And so anyways, he started just turning to the digital space. And you know what he found? Well, I'll tell you what he didn't find. He didn't find a bunch of Christian content. He didn't find a bunch of Jesus content. He found, Oprah. He found Tony Robbins. He found all these more, probably what we'd call Eastern influencers. But his friend, who he formerly worked with, sent him a podcast, said, listen to this. It's gonna help you. It's like, as a pastor, that's not my thing. And so anyways, he listened to that and it was transformative. Just continued listening to that pastor. And it transformed his life and brought him to Christ. And he knew that it was so hard for him to connect with faith online. He was able to connect with all these other faiths, but not the Christian faith. And he wanted to build the digital destination for faith. And so that's what Pray.com was. And that's how it got started. It was very much God-breathed, so to speak.
And it sounds like to me from Steve's story, which is probably a lot of people's story, you could go on YouTube and find all kinds of pastors and preachers and even churches now are more prevalent today. But how do you know which one suits you? How do you know it's the right thing? You have to establish that in your life, but maybe you want a resource that kind of points you to a specific topic, like grief, like what he was going to. Pray.com has become that. When did you guys launch?
We launched in 2017. So, no one was doing that in 2017. It was hard to go on YouTube. And even today, if you go on YouTube, the likelihood of you getting promoted content that maybe resonates with you, that's Christian, is hit or miss, right? Hit or miss.
Wow. And so as the chief technology officer, what is your vision? What are you thinking about innovatively to connect people who want faith content and then to deliver in a way that they maybe wouldn't have before unless you came up with a brilliant idea?
So the way I think about it is, when we think about the faith space in general, we have the people that go to church and the people that run the churches. And we service both of them, and we want to solve the problems for the church generally. And so we have to solve problems for both of those people. And so if you go to our app, we're solving primarily for the person that goes to church. And one of the things they're looking to do is they're looking to grow spiritually. Now, what we know from not just the Bible, not just our personal experience, but from actually scientific research we've done, we have the only clinical studies in prayer that's been done through a digital therapeutic, but also in some greater studies that have been done through secular sources on the efficacy of prayer. We found that prayer has a huge impact, not just on spiritual health, but on mental health. And so we saw that as a huge need in the space, and it only amplified in 2020 and 2021 because of the pandemic and the anxiety that brought. And so we brought this kind of digital therapeutic to the Christians, to the digital space for the people that go to church, but also we did it in a way that reaches beyond that and reaches the curious, the people who are spiritually curious, who are just, maybe like Steve, who are just looking to overcome one of life's wild challenges that it throws at us. And so we get tons of those people coming in, giving us feedback, reviews about how they're finding our content, whether it's James Earl Jones taking them through the Bible, how that's transforming their lives, or how it's through some of our new AI stuff like AI Bible, how it's bringing to life the Bible in a format that they wouldn't even have been interested in besides this cinematic storytelling that Max Bard and his team at Pray.com do. They bring to life these stories of the Bible so that it's approachable for the average Christian, but also just the average person. And it gets them excited about God's word and how it can transform their life. And then we give all these pastors all these great AI tools like AI translations to help them not just reach people in the English speaking world, but also in all the all the other languages that we can reach with AI tools, and we connect them on Pray.com. So people, you get the members that go to church, they connect with the ministries that are on Pray.com online to bring to life the digital church.
And the digital church, I think a lot of people in media, I've been reporting on it for years. There were all these polls showing that church attendance was down. But what a lot of reporters would leave out is that digital searches for faith resources and people who were attending online or people that were finding, prayer resources online was going way up. And you all have been a part of that. How have you used technology and the advent of AI, as well as other resources, to be more innovative with something that is as age-old as prayer?
Well, I think as you think about prayer, it stands the test of time, especially the Christian faith, right? We're sitting at over 2 millennia, right? And the power that we've been given through prayer, it's going to transcend generations and timelines, right? Because we're not just sitting here reflecting like on certain meditation, but we're going to commune with an eternal God who sees the past and the future all the same. And right, so he can help us through our life struggles. And that's what Pray.com gives people through technology, is the ability to teach them how to grow that relationship with God in an easy format, in an engaging and entertaining format. And so we get to utilize all these advancements in technology, whether it's just as simple as a mobile phone that we've been used to for, only, about 15 years, right, where people have been really utilizing it. And so like these are new technologies, and the faith community is just starting, post-pandemic to really adopt it, unlike they have. I don't know about you, but my mom, pre-pandemic, she was still calling me. She wasn't really texting me. Now I get shorts and reels and text messages. It's getting crazy over here, right? Because it brought an acceleration. And so now with more people online, the church has to be more online. And that's what we seek to solve.
What do you tell the Christian community who is wary of AI technology and thinks it's scary or evil or it could be weaponized?
Yeah, I think that all those things are true. And we're seeing it, right? And we'll continue to see it. And if we aren't the ones utilizing it, then that stuff will continue to happen. So these tools they don't have values. It's the people behind them that do. And so if we can utilize these tools to advance virtuous things, to do great things in the world, to change history for the good, for the gospel's sake, that's where the innovation can happen that can really transform not just the world, but the hearts and minds of individuals for the good. And so I think it's up to the church. We can't sit out like we did on the internet age. We have to get in the game, and we have to go all in, and we have to figure out how to utilize these tools, technology, because other people are, and they don't share the same values as us. And so we have to utilize them and to promote the gospel, the love of Jesus that transformed our lives and transforms millions of others on a daily basis.
I know you're in technology. I'm sure you talk to a lot of people, within the Pray.com ecosystem. But then what about people in technology who don't necessarily ascribe to the same faith as you and your team? What are you hearing? Are they starting to be curious about what Pray.com is doing and about what the faith community is doing? Because it seems as though there are a lot of companies shifting towards more of a bold, out loud faith in the marketplace.
Yeah, I would say, we've always adopted from the beginning is kind of like we wanted to attract the best that God has created. And some of those people aren't Christians. Kind of like how Solomon built the temple, right? Whoever was the best at their craft, he wanted to build the temple because he was building something great. And he saw that it's great if you have, I come from a Reformed background, so I might lose some audience. But if you have some special grace, that's great. But really what we need to build, what Solomon needed to build the temple was common grace. That grace that God gives to everybody under the sun to do the things that are achieved in the world. And so we've been very, very ambitious and vocal in our engagement with Silicon Valley prior to Silicon Valley adopting faith, right? Like that wasn't a thing when we started. We were kind of shunned, but there were some bold investors even back then, like Peter Thiel of Founders Fund, right? Like in that group that really took a chance in this space. And so it really helped us open up the door. So yeah, I think that we want to continue to be that bridge, not just from the physical to the digital church, but also that bridge from the people that have special grace and those people that have yet to receive Jesus's grace. And right, we don't want to shut that door because that's what we're about. We're the front door to the digital world at Pray.com. And we're about bringing people in exciting new ways so that they can experience the transformative power that we've experienced.
I think that's important that you said that, because I think for a lot of people, they feel, the church hasn't been inclusive and the church it's a private club. It's some exclusive club. But what you're describing is an open door to a world that people of faith and people who might just be curious about faith are yet to step into. Ryan, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Went back to the Old Testament and King Solomon and the temple as an example. I think that's brilliant. For those of you watching who've never heard that story, that was King David's son. He's considered the wisest man to have ever lived, still to this day. And, we all hope that we have a lot of wisdom and curiosity in this era of innovation. Thank you, Ryan. And for everybody, you can go to pray.com to find all of the resources. They've got an app there on social media, and you can check out scenes from the new AI Bible. The handle is AI Bible Official, I believe, right?
Yes.
Okay. AI Bible Official. Ryan, thank you again. Say hi to everybody for me, including Steve. Tell them fight on.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.